Hunt.
Are you?
AM KBDT proudly presents Life Solutions, coaching, counseling, naturopathic medicine, insights for successful living, and getting better with Ann Beal.
Welcome. It is a beautiful day today. Yesterday was overcast, but today is beautiful and is perfect for talking about how to take care of yourself. Now, it's interesting because we had a long discussion. I have Dr. Slaughter here joining me today. We had a discussion about what it means to really be healthy. And when people hear healthy, their view of what that really means can be very different. And I work a lot with eating disorders, and with eating disorders, especially anorexics, they don't like the word healthy because to them it means you're heavier, you're fatter, and you can't say really that word to them. You have to use other words. And it depends when people think of healthy, kind of how they grew up, what that word means to them. But we are going to discuss what it takes to become healthy and staying healthy in every way. Thank you for being here to help me. Jim?
I am so glad to be here with the awesome Ann Beal and talk about health in so many different ways. And there are different facets to health.
Yes,
like
because we're going to
talk. It means to be healthy,
we're
right?
going to talk about healthy, but then Justin Paxshaw next week, it's going to be a whole nother kind of healthy. Climbing Mount Everest, you have to be like on the. I mean, I don't even know everything you have to do to climb Mount Everest.
I am. I've read some about it. I'm just going to be content with looking at Justin's pictures about.
Doug Pitt, he climbs Kilimanjaro. Him and he takes people, but Mount Everest is like the hardest thing to do, I think. And so that's a whole nother kind of healthy. So we're going to...
Yeah, come and listen to Justin Paxshaw. It'll be a great show.
Yes,
sure.
It'll be a great show. So we are going to go over things for you, but the one thing is we want to have you consider rating yourself as we talk, poor, fair, good, or excellent on each of these topics as it relates to your physical health, mental health, spiritual health. So when we say you're all over health, it kind of includes all those. So we are actually going to kind of stay to the point. We're not going to chat too much off topic because we really want you to get everything today that you need. And we have a lot of material. We would love for you to call in. So please feel free, 214-810-8255, if you have any questions on getting healthy or anything else that we're talking about today. So, Jim, we're starting with exercise.
Yeah, and we have just a number, like you said, a number of topics, and we're going to go through these. Exercise is that's the first one that we're going to deal with, of course, and it's one of the components of health that most people, I would say, most people I work with that I know tend to think about that as one of the major things to do to keep us healthy. And they're right about that. The experts say that it increases longevity. It helps you live longer when you do that. Brings your blood pressure down. It also can help us keep the weight in a more manageable range. Helps ward off disease. The men that I work with most, we talk about anxiety and what exercise does to help them eliminate or at least reduce the anxiety that they feel. Exercise burns adrenaline. Adrenaline is what makes us feel anxious and afraid. And so if we can burn more adrenaline, we're going to feel better. And so those are some things about exercise.
Well, and women, exercise makes their PMS less or gone.
Okay.
As an athlete, I never really had that much at all. It wasn't until I stopped working out all the time. So what most people, we definitely suggest 3 times a week at least. Okay,
well, and a question
3 times a week is good. Go ahead.
I was just going to say a question might be, have you exercised at least 3 times over the past week? Because that's, like Ann was saying, that's what people who are exercise enthusiasts and experts tend to say. We need three times a week probably, and get our heart rate up to 100, 120 beats a minute. And we can do that with a fast walk. We can do it through the right kind of lifting exercises. We can get it from jogging, running, that kind of thing,
swimming.
Too. Yeah, swimming.
And even, dancing. Lots of, if you want to do enjoyable things, we used to always join leagues like volleyball, bowling, anything like that to keep us going. But it's definitely important to your ability to stay effective because you feel alive. You have gotten your heart rate up. It increases your breathing. And Ben Fuchs, who's a specialist with health and wellness, talks about deep breathing and the importance of this. And the thing about when you get your heart rate up, you're taking these big, deep breaths. And so air is an incredibly healthy, taking air in big breaths and then blowing it out is one of the best things you can do. So we are suggesting three times a week. Now, you know, the Bible says that bodily exercise profiteth. So that's 1 Timothy 4:8. And it just makes you more effective. It really does, and science has proven that. Now, what's interesting is Dr. Joe Wallach, who we work with a lot, he actually talks about couch potatoes living longer than some of these really serious athletes. So we're not talking about necessarily hitting it super hard every time you work out. We're just talking about movement 3 times a week, making sure if you can get up and get away from your desk and walk or go walk at lunch, anything like that, that you get your heart rate up, however you do that.
I think one of the things that keeps people from starting an exercise program or continuing an exercise program is that they believe they have to go all out, all guns roaring, and they just get burned out on it so fast. And instead of doing like what you suggested, and that is you take it easy, you plan it, you do what you can do, and do it in a reasonable way.
Well, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to talk, because what you think of as healthy, these top athletes out there, you know, they drop. They do, because they sweat out all their nutrients. They don't add in minerals before they work out, and they can just have a myocardial heart attack, things like that. And so we just actually want you to move more than you are 3 times a week, to movement. So rate yourself on that. Number 2 is very important, because a lot of people have burnout, and they don't know that they're burned out. And we want you to listen and see if you have any of these signs of burnout. To determine what degree you might be burned out, ask yourself the following questions. Do you tire more easily and become fatigued? That's mine.
Yeah. Okay. Do you, out there in public, do people sometimes tell you, hey, you don't look so good? And because sometimes, you know, when we're burned out, and we have talked about this in the program before, but we don't feel well, and we are less focused. We don't do a good job of what we do, and often we just aren't ourselves. And so people say, hey, man, you don't look so good.
Yeah, and you find yourself working harder and harder, but accomplishing less and less. You often forget things and find yourself preoccupied with minor details.
Yep.
And I see that a lot in women after they've had babies and they have that postpartum, just the body's needing to repair. But I also see it in people that are really, really, really busy.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, the one thing I've noticed, too, is that people who are burned out, they are tired of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and feeling like they're not getting anywhere. And so we become depressed, we become cynical, we become, disenchanted, preoccupied, all kinds of things like that. And so we're not very well. We don't do well with other people around us, people in our family or our friends. And the truth of the matter is, it's easy to start isolating when that happens.
You start saying less and less because you withdraw more and more. And even with people, you don't say as much. Definitely, I see more physical complaints, more bodily physical complaints. The body starts hurting more all over in different ways.
Right. There's also kind of a disorientation sometimes. I don't know if that's the word to use exactly, but at the end of the day, often we just come in exhausted, and if we truly have burnout, and burnout is really just a state of exhaustion.
And people confuse burnout with depression. It isn't the same, and you can bounce back a lot quicker when you're burned out. But you can also function a lot longer as burned out, but you're so less effective, and you just think of the way you used to be. Definitely, I think that men often, the wife, I'll get these complaints from the wife. He'll come home from all day long, and she'll ask him, like, how his day was or what happened to work, and he will remember, like, he seems to remember nothing about his day, that he just went through the motions all day long, but he doesn't remember anything. So they're kind of disoriented about life and what's going on. And so you can get lost, and the days, the months, the years just pass.
For sure. We talk about overcoming this through reorganizing priorities. That's only one thing. In fact, everything we're going to talk about today are helps to overcoming burnout.
Well, yes, I hadn't thought about that. Way to go. Yes, you're right. That's true. That's true, because they are all really, you're so smart. That's why you have that PhD. I definitely, if you only look at efficiency decreasing, whatever you were capable of doing before, negative thinking increasing, those are, and you withdrawing socially, your resilience drops, being able to handle things.
Right, and your immune system begins to drop in efficiency, so we don't handle bugs as well that in our system, and so it's easier to get sick that way. Yes.
So so exercise is one of the things that helps burnout. So we're going to go through. So Dr. Slaughter's right. Everything that we're talking about here helps burnout. Okay. So I've had people talk about music helping that, just health in general. A lot of older Christians will tell me how much they love the hymns of the faith.
Old hymns of the faith.
Yeah, because they were real clear. They were very direct to Scripture, but they actually are about people hurting or overcoming pain or things like that, and it directly targets those areas with Scripture. But they're repetitive, so that it's basically so that you remember them, and so they will remember them, and they'll sing them when they're down. I if anything, I just want you to have music that makes you feel good, not for you to listen to music that makes you feel sad or mad, because music can, but it can also do the opposite. It'll cause endorphins to flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you do kind of have to pick your music well. I think you if you're trying to relax, you don't want to listen to Wagner, right? He was a German, and everything is bombastic and stuff. But you want to come down. But if there are different kinds of music that you can listen to. But I include that. I talk to people about that all the time who are working on their anxiety, because some people will use that on a very consistent basis to relax. It's a relaxation technique.
Yes.
And so that can be very, very helpful.
Well, and I love music when I work out because it motivates me. It just, I love it. And there's a point as a runner that I get where I really need to get rid of the headphones so that I don't have the music. Because past like 5 miles to 8 miles, it doesn't help you anymore. You really need to enjoy and breathe. But for you, what music is it that relaxes you, that you enjoy?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not even sure I've settled on one particular
See,
style.
I know, because I hear you listening to it.
I like, I don't know what you're going to say. I like classical music,
I know
but
that.
I don't.
That's exactly
I have
what
to
I was
be
gonna say.
careful about that, because there's classical music that stimulates you, and so rather than, in other words, it raises your heart rate increases.
Well,
as
it
gets
can
you
help
going.
you feel better, or it can. But you're talking about if you want to relax.
I would choose something slower if I were going to relax. And, the truth of the matter is, frankly, I like elevator music.
Well, having
a lot.
different cars is important because your music is very calming, and mine. I love up music. It makes me feel good. It makes me happy. Calming music is, and that's where I think to make me feel better, I enjoy hymns as well. Anything like that, or contemporary Christian music. But I like a lot of different kinds of music. Even dubstep, I really like. It makes me feel better. So do you do something 3 times this week for relaxation and recreation? So he was saying relaxing music was what Dr. Slaughter was saying. And so recreation, we were talking about the exercise, but there's lots of things you can do for recreation. You can hike, you can go to a movie, anything where you get out and it's not your work. Anything away from your work. So if you're a baseball player, you got to get away from baseball. You can't go to a baseball game or watch baseball. It's going to be something different. But yeah, something for recreation and relaxation.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that's designed to take your mind off of what normally you have to think about. And so it's basically giving your brain a break from the activity.
Yes, and when we come back, we are going to talk about the type A personality. Is that you? If you are type A, you want to stay right here for when we get back so we can help you not be burned out and decrease your...
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just 2 of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement
with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. You've been listening to Dr. Wallach, and I bet you have some questions. We want to help. And here's how you can get the answers. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Write that number down and make the call right now. Don't wait any longer to find out how Dr. Wallach's own all-natural nutritional supplements by Longevity can help you. Are you concerned with reducing your risk of heart disease, cancer, stroke, or high blood pressure? Help is available. Do you have arthritis, sore joints, lower back pain, or fibromyalgia? Call now. Dr. Wallach creates his own formulation so you can be sure that what is on the label is actually in the bottle. Whatever your health challenge, make this call. Thousands like you have seen results for a happier, healthier life. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Call today, 800-214-0065. They say we're not getting any younger, but many thousands have felt younger after a few short months using Dr. Wallach's all-natural longevity nutritional supplements. How many times have you said one of these days, I need to call Dr. Wallach and find out what I need? Well, make that day today. Here's how to get that information. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Write that number down and make the call. The information is free, and there is no pressure. So do it now. That's 800-214-0065. If you face health challenges such as heart disease, arthritis, diabetes, fibromyalgia, depression, infertility, ADD or ADHD, high blood pressure, or one of hundreds of other diseases, help is available. All you have to do is make the call. You have nothing to lose but the pain and suffering. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
The best Mexican food at family-friendly prices in Cedar Hill is at Olga's Sports Restaurant, 642 Uptown Boulevard. Olga's serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They'll serve you the most delicious tacos, burritos, quesadillas, homemade tortillas, and other made-to-order food. Wash it all down with one of Olga's famous margaritas. Too busy or too tired to go out? Call 469-454-6430 for local delivery. 469-454-6430. Want a catered lunch at the office? Call Olga's. Having a birthday party or other event? Call Olga's Sports Restaurant and book their party room. 469-454-6430. Meet your friends to watch the big game or soccer match on their big screen TVs. Olga's has it all, including Wi-Fi and hotspot. For the finest made-from-scratch Mexican and bar food in Cedar Hill, stop by Olga's Sports Restaurant, 642 Uptown Boulevard today. Call 469-454-6430. Olga's Sports Restaurant in Cedar Hill.
To admit it's getting better, a little better all the time.
And now here's more Getting Better with Ann Beal on 1160 AM KBDT.
So the music that I chose for the show, the Beatles, Getting Better. Okay, that makes me feel good. Every time it plays, I just love it.
That's a great tune. It's a great song.
So
and I
my
love it
show,
too.
Living Well, doesn't have that kind of music. It's up music. But I thought, when John David Wells said, or maybe it was Janet, getting better all the time, I went, I love that. I want that. Yes, because it does. It sets off endorphins in me. And Janet just to tell me, okay, you see that you're moving with the music. Okay, you need to turn down the music. You need to be still, even though the music's playing. You look funny.
You mentioned endorphins. I'm just going to stick this in real quick. A number of the things that we're going to mention today that we're talking about release or loose endorphins, which are, we would say, feel-good chemicals that the body produces. But we can bring them out and make use of them in different ways. And so that's something that can be very important to us to stay well. to stay healthy.
Yes, and it's really important for a type A personality to stay well because they have such drive and such energy and they demand a lot of themselves because they struggle a lot with guilt. I mean, guilt if they stop, guilt if they take a day off, guilt if they relax. I mean, I used to watch TV, and I couldn't just watch TV. If I was watching TV, I was folding laundry, I was balancing the checkbook. I mean, I was always doing something. So I put the laundry there by the TV so that when I was watching it, I would also do laundry. And so, you never put the laundry on the couch. You just did laundry.
Yeah.
And so I did that because I always had if I was going to sit and relax like that, I had to multitask. I wasn't allowed just to relax.
Yeah, my question would be, if you do that, are you really relaxing? And the way I would answer that would be no.
Well, I was multitasking, relaxing with so I could half relax. Like it was much more relaxing than not doing it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what I eventually was saying to you. You don't ever just stop and smell the roses. You don't ever just and I'd have flowers, and you're like, "What? I picked these." You'd be like, "Oh," or on the way in Malibu, when I lived in Malibu or Calabasas, and I was driving to Santa Monica, all the dolphin pod, if there were all these dolphins, I would just stop and watch them.
Right. Now, so a lot of our people listening out there can't do that.
I know,
and they are type A personalities.
Well, yeah, they're in
should
Dallas.
Should we?
So they
go
just
over
need to
some of
take
these?
walks. So yes, and that is, for me, it's that they're very time oriented. But the thing that you want to know is they also tend to die young.
They do, and
Yes.
there are a number of reasons for that. But people who are type A, they tend to move and they walk and they eat quickly. They eat rapidly. Usually they're the first ones through with their meal. They tend to hurry. Other people, when they're talking, they talk fast and they hurry others. Type A's get very upset if they have to wait in a line or if they get put on hold. It's very difficult for them to wait.
A healthy type A only gets a little frustrated.
Right. Well, and that's actually true.
Yes.
Most people get frustrated when they get put on hold, right? But
Yeah.
not like the type A does. Repetitive tasks just make type A people crazy, and so.
It's hard for them. It's
Right.
hard for them to focus long enough because the energy is going. We need to move.
Now we were talking about space for just kind of kicking back, relaxing a little bit. Type A's have a hard time doing that because if they find space, they schedule something else in there.
Yeah.
They just jam their day together. They cram everything.
Therefore,
together.
time issue is they tend to be just a little late because they try to fit stuff in.
Usually, yes.
And I could do that on the way, and that on the way, and that on the way. Now there is this personality type that is not type A. That if you are telling them, "Hey, you want to go to Walmart," and they say yes. And on the way to Walmart, all of a sudden, you fit things in. Oh, I need to stop here. I need to stop there. They go, "Oh, my gosh, I thought you told me you were just going to Walmart." And we're like, what's the big deal? It is a big deal for them because they need it planned.
Yep.
And they don't like that. They want to do directly like see shirt, kill shirt, bring shirt home. That's it. Like,
Right.
And don't fit anything in. It stresses them out and causes them great anxiety. And so realizing this personality is not like any other.
Yeah, and I think dealing with type A personality, if you recognize that that's kind of what you're dealing with, I think it's very hard to come down from that. It's a very difficult thing to transform our lives in such a way that we have more time and not feel guilty about it, so that we know what to do with our time.
Yeah.
And so,
And it's
that's
very
hard.
important because they tend to be prone to heart disease.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
tend to be statistically more likely to die young because
Right.
they go. They don't relax. They don't give anything back. And that's what we want to work on. We're going to teach you how to give back to yourself to do the things so that you can actually become healthy and stay healthy.
Yep.
As soon as we get back, we're going to go over what you need to do to make sure that happens. And we're going to talk about the importance of laughter. You have got to laugh. And type A personalities are so serious, they forget to laugh. So you've got to remember to laugh. And so that's just one of the things. Stay right here so you can not die young.
And you can be well,
And
healthy.
If you're 85...
Bills have gotten out of hand and you care about your credit, call Consolidated Credit now. If the interest rates on your credit cards are so high, it'll take years to get out of debt. Call Consolidated Credit now. They've helped over 6 million people with credit card debt. Without destroying your credit, they can consolidate your debts into one lower payment, reduce your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. The program works. Call Consolidated Credit now. Call 800-406-0046. 800-406-0046. That's 800-406-0046. Consolidated Credit Counseling Services, Inc., 5701 West Sunrise Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33313. Licensed by the New York Department of Financial Services and by the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation. Maryland DM 1492, Oregon DM 80092. Licensed by the Virginia State Corporation. Commission license number DC 83. Service may adversely affect the individual's credit. Non-payment of debt may lead to additional finance charges or collections activity, including legal action, not a loan company.
Looking for a great meal at one of the best restaurants in North Texas? Head to the Delta Hotel by Marriott Dallas Allen and Waters Creek Convention Center in Allen, where celebrity chef Stephen Piles brings his delicious twist to true Texas cuisine at their signature restaurant, Stampede 66. From incredible steaks and tasty sides to delicious desserts, Stampede 66 has it all. The Delta Hotel by Marriott in Allen also has casual dining and great craft cocktails at the Canyon Bar. Don't have game tickets? You won't miss a play when you and your friends watch on Delta's 18-foot screen outside on the patio by the pool. Check the Delta's website for special events, including stand-up comedy nights and live music. From gourmet Texas food at Stampede 66 to a snack by the pool on the patio, the Delta Hotel by Marriott with the Canyon Bar and Stampede 66 in Allen is the place to meet for great food, fun, and entertainment. 777 Waters Creek Boulevard in Allen. That's Stampede 66 at the Delta Hotel by Marriott in Allen. 469-675-0800. 469-675-0800.
Wake up the echo.
Knocked down by Wooden. The game is over.
The Fighting Irish.
Tell them to go in there with all they got and win just one for the gift.
So we understand that adversity is what we look for. In adversity, there's opportunity.
Touchdown, Notre Dame.
This Saturday, the Fighting Irish welcome New Mexico. Kickoff at 1:30.
Brought to you by the Dallas Hotel by Marriott, Dallas Allen, and Waters Creek Convention Center. On your Dallas-Fort Worth home for Notre Dame football. 1160 AM KBDT. News Talk Sports. Today.
I've got to admit, it's getting better. A little better all the time.
If you'd like to get better, call Ann right now. 214-810-8255. 214-810-TALK. Now more with Ann Beal on 1160 AM KBDT.
Have you laughed several times today? If you haven't, you need to. We were cracking up last night watching a show. We watched a comedy show, or parts of a comedy show, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
A wise man once compared a merry heart to medicine. That is Proverbs 17:22. Laughter is a very, very good sign of mental health. What happens if you don't laugh?
Well, you get inside yourself so much, and you start thinking down. You know,
Usually,
negative self-talk goes into that. You feel discouraged. You can feel depressed. But it is amazing what laughter can do.
Well, and it is a sign. Medical studies show that when you laugh, you release endorphins. And so if you just make yourself laugh, you feel better. And people don't realize there's things you can do just in your thinking or acting to make yourself feel better. But definitely it is often, if there's an absence of frequent laughter, it is often an external symptom indicating the presence of deeper emotional struggles. Mm-hmm. And often an ongoing stressor, right? And so one of the reasons you want to really work hard to disperse stress in your life is because you need to be able to laugh. And so we have people come in and, the news and the world, you get too into that and you start worrying or it makes you angry and you kind of stay there a lot. We have people stop listening to that and instead watch a comedy show, listen to funny things, listen to music, get outside, spend time with friends, socialize. But definitely you need to talk about those emotions. Mm-hmm. You need to get out all those repressed feelings because you don't realize when you're watching that stuff in the world and the news and all that all the time, you don't even realize how much repressed anger or overwhelmness you actually have because it's bigger than us. It's so much bigger than us.
Right, and it shows up in so many different ways, and this kind of is a good transition into the next one whenever we're ready to do that. Mm-hmm. But self-talk is so crucial. It's so important. And we talk to ourselves really almost all the time, every day. There are messages that we're sending ourselves. We're talking, and we may not do it out loud. We do it silently, but we're thinking different thoughts, and a lot of it is negative. It's negative self-talk.
Yes.
I can't believe I did that. I should never have done that. I'll never learn to do this, or whatever it is, But,
well, and I think people don't realize the more they listen to, or they're around a certain kind of person, or listening to certain kinds of people, that they can take on those characteristics and start thinking like they do. So if you watch the news a lot and all that craziness, you start kind of thinking and repeating in your head what they say and parroting what they say and feeling. This is the main thing. For me, it's the feeling, that feeling over and over and over. And so it's real important, whether it be your spouse or friends, you need to share emotionally with them kind of 3 times a week. That would be my thing for you. 3 times a week, you need to share these emotions, these repressed emotions. What would you call them?
Well, or just repressed is a good word. I mean, it's just
Maybe
covered over, hidden, pushed down inside, or whatever.
Because we can put those feelings aside and just do what we have to do, and then forget about them and not share.
Or we can we just don't want to deal with them, and so we don't, like you said, don't think about them. Another part of the negative thinking is that we see so many people come into the office for help, and it's almost like as you listen to them, they're actually nurturing the negativism in their lives. Yeah. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, do you have any idea what that does to you? And so one of the things that we recommend for people to be healthy is to forgive past hurts. Yeah. And so forgiveness is a really huge part of positive self-talk and positive thinking and letting things go.
And I think that people don't know how to do that, right? Like, it sounds easy. And so the beginning part of forgiveness is just making a choice that you're not going to hold these things inside your heart. It's more about your health. There's a book called Deadly Emotions. If you read that book, you will never want to hold these grudges.
Yeah, Don Colbert.
Don Colbert. This book is so good, but it does scare you. He's a heart doctor, and he wrote this book because he saw that most people had these heart problems. They watched news a lot, but they also just had all these. They nurtured anger. They held grudges, bitterness, anger. And, people hold on to that stuff, but you're not hurting anyone else. And Oprah was talking about that. She really was mad at this friend and would have talked to her and held this grudge for 2 years, and then saw her on Rodeo Drive with a bunch of other friends having a blast. And she realized the only person that's been miserable for the last 2 years with me.
Yeah.
And so she really made a promise to herself to not do that anymore. And so holding grudges makes you sick. And even if you don't think you hold grudges per se, it's still kind of unresolved anger. And so it just builds up in there. And so making it a real effort in yourself to forgive.
Right, and it's not. It can be difficult to do, but it doesn't have to be. It's not impossible. It's a matter of the will. It's a decision of the will, like you said. I will forgive this person for hurting me. Now, the scriptures are very clear. The New Testament's very clear. We do that, and we're able to do that because Jesus Christ has forgiven us. And so, then in being in our life of being like Him, then it is. It would make sense that we would be forgiving people. Now,
and they give examples in the Bible of different people, especially one who he owed money to a wealthy man, and he came and he let him off from what he owed him. And then that guy went and somebody owed him money, and he was like, absolutely not. You're going to repay this or you'll go to jail or whatever. And then he's called down about that behavior.
Right.
To say, wait a minute, I forgave you, and then you didn't forget him, and he puts him in jail.
Yeah.
And so it's very important, but it's for our health. And I think that's so important that we understand that it's for us to be better. And so there's a decision to start, and then after a while, you realize, okay, I'm still doing that, or there's still some left, and you decide again. And the way you know you've totally forgiven is when there's not that deep anger. It's much more of a sadness, I guess.
Right. And let me just say that when I think about real forgiveness, true forgiveness, what that really means is I no longer hold that person accountable. I no longer hold them accountable for what they did to me.
But how do they do that?
Well, again, Menra says it's a decision. It's a matter of the will. It's a decision of the will. I decide to do that. I think about what Christ has done for me, and I say, what else can I do?
So
and
you just mentioned my favorite man, Dr. Frank Minerath.
Brent, I was going to mention his
I
book.
love him. Happiness is a choice.
Happiness is a choice. If you have forgiving to do in your life, you want to get Frank Minerath's book. Happiness is a choice.
Or depression, but that book really is how to be okay. How to, and a lot of those things we took from. I mean, he has 1 million books out there. He has 100 books or more. He really does, literally.
Well, maybe 1 million.
He has over 100 books. He got 110, 12, whatever. But his book, Happiness is a Choice, and there are lots of books after that, but the Happiness is a Choice book is how you can get out of depression by making choices.
But this is another point, but it's similar to that, and it's a part of it. And it has to do with realizing that when we do hard things, when we're able to do hard things, that's the power of Christ. That Christ enables us to do what seems impossible. And if it's going to be hard for us, if we think that forgiving someone in particular is going to be hard for us, then we go to the Lord and we say, this is hard for me. I'm honest with you. I had a hard time forgiving this person. I know you forgave me. I want to forgive them. Help me in my effort to do this. And so Christ will give us the power to do that.
I think with when we talk about letting go of, repressed emotions or feelings, when you think of sharing with your spouse or sharing with your significant others or whatever, we were talking about on the way men having trouble with talking and opening up and things like that. And not really, at the end of their day, they're so worn out, they might not have anything to share. But it's very important that you try to share 3 times a week, and we talked about that. But it's also very important to try to think about 3 people in your life you have not forgiven. Most people, they can think of 3 that they're just really still upset with, and they haven't really resolved it. Because the busier the world is today, people just let that go. They just let it go. They just don't talk to them, or they don't deal with it, and time passes, and before you know it, years have passed, and you've never really dealt with that. So part of it is just think of 3 people and then work to do that. If you're having trouble, Get Happiness is a Choice. It's a wonderful book.
Yeah, and I don't think maybe another point that we'll bring up was going to be cultivating relationships and people that we trust, that we can talk to. Everyone, not just men or women, but everybody needs several close friends who care about them, who can be confidants that we know can keep a secret or whatever, and will listen well to us and cultivate relationships like that. Even if we have to go up and say, I've observed you, I've seen you, and I would really like to be friends. Could we get together sometime?
Do guys really do that?
I did it once.
Did you once? Did it work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely. Guy became a really close friend of mine. He said, I'd like to do that.
Well, and I do it through sports, right? I get in different things and make friends, but I also just hang out with them. Dr. Minerath and Paul Meyer will say you need 6 friends, 6 good friends, and one of them can be your spouse. And they can even be your grown kids, not your little kids. I mean, those are your kids, but you can't really open up and share everything with them because that's not healthy. But you should, I'm getting distracted by this really cool car down there. Okay.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
please.
So you need to open up. I'm a car person. Okay. You need to open up and share with friends. And your husband can't be everything. Your spouse, your wife can't be everything. Because there's times when she's overwhelmed, you're overwhelmed, and that won't go well. Or she's in a bad mood, and then you're in a bad mood, right? So some people are already having a hard time themselves, and they are pretty maxed out. And that's more and more today, I think, that they can barely handle their own stressors, more or less yours as well, when you're having a hard time. And so you want to spread it around. And that's why they say 6. I mean, to me, even if you have 2 other ones, you do want to mix it up because one person can't handle everything.
Right. We talked about extended family just for a minute, and one of the things that I was convicted about when we started talking about these things is that, frankly, I am not in touch with my brothers. My parents
are funny.
My parents have passed away, but my brothers are still around, and we once in a while, but we really don't connect the way we should and or would like to.
You're so cool when you get together, like you've never been apart. That you guys are so awesome, but you don't talk a lot until you come together for an event or whatever.
So I began thinking about this morning. Even I thought, if I just If I just call my brothers and say, hey, I'm just checking in, what's been going on, that would be a very helpful thing to do.
Hi, Kay. Thanks for joining us. We have people on Facebook joining us.
Yeah, welcome. We're glad to see your comments.
It's good to see you. I think for me, when you have a close family, and it depends on the times in my life, different times, depending on what happens with my family, but I love having a big family, but partly because I have so many people to choose from, but I also can call them, and it just makes you feel more loved to have these people in your life, And so that's why I'm like, you don't talk to them very much, but you guys are pretty independent. I mean, everything is cool when you guys get together. And so there's no grudges. There's not any of that. But I don't know, maybe it's more guys. Maybe it's the personality types. Because for me, I love visiting everyone when I go home. And it exhausts most people.
Here's a line I've always wanted to use, but I never have. It's contacting someone and saying, I was having a cup of coffee with the Lord today and your name came up.
Yes. and that would be a good thing or a bad thing. Well, hopefully a good thing.
Hopefully a good thing. I mean, I would be thinking positively, when I said that, but still, but any way that we can make someone see that we are thinking of them is a good thing.
And I do think that for me, my family members come up almost every day when I'm praying, or I'm reading, getting ready for the morning. And I think it's important that there's often a need that exists to go back and mend or repair relationships, building a new way of relating, which can lead to a really good mental and emotional stability. And I think that as the world changes, people change, and it can be hard to know how to communicate with them and how to keep building relationship with them, because if they change, well, you have to change. If you love them, then you've got to change too and figure out, okay, so they've matured or whatever, or they've been through hard times, and you have to figure out new ways. And so it's very important to your mental health. Perhaps a phone call, a letter. Okay, I do write letters. People go, oh my God, you wrote me a letter. A visit, or perhaps an outing with extended family can build closer relationships and really foster emotional health. And you'll be amazed what it'll do if you haven't contacted anyone in a while.
Yeah, that's really true. And, people love to be contacted for the most part. I mean, they may not even get back to you, but there's something that when you hear from somebody say, I was thinking about you, how you doing? It really makes you feel good, and that's a very good thing to do. When
we get back, we want to talk about how much change you've had in your life. There's a lot of people moving, changing, divorcing, changing schools. There's so much stress in politics. And so there's medical studies about change, and we want to help you change and do it well with that stress. So when you come back, we're going to go over the last few things for you to stay healthy and be healthy.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just two of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. You've been listening to Dr. Wallach, and I bet you have some questions. We want to help. And here's how you can get the answers. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Write that number down and make the call right now. Don't wait any longer to find out how Dr. Wallach's own all-natural nutritional supplements by Longevity can help you. Are you concerned with reducing your risk of heart disease, cancer, stroke, or high blood pressure? Help is available. Do you have arthritis, sore joints, lower back pain, or fibromyalgia? Call now. Dr. Wallach creates his own formulation so you can be sure that what is on the label is actually in the bottle. Whatever your health challenge, make this call. Thousands like you have seen results for a happier, healthier life. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Call today, 800-214-0065. They say we're not getting any younger, but many thousands have felt younger after a few short months using Dr. Wallach's all-natural longevity nutritional supplements. How many times have you said one of these days, I need to call Dr. Wallach and find out what I need? Well, make that day today. Here's how to get that information. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Write that number down and make the call. The information is free, and there is no pressure. So do it now. That's 800-214-0065. If you face health challenges such as heart disease, arthritis, diabetes, fibromyalgia, depression, infertility, ADD or ADHD, high blood pressure, or one of hundreds of other diseases, help is available. All you have to do is make the call. You have nothing to lose but the pain and suffering. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
What does it mean to be an American? Just what are our American values? Working hard to succeed, loving God, country, and family, being honest, strong, and compassionate.
Supporting our Constitution and recognizing that we are blessed to be living in America, the greatest country in the world.
Our Bill of Rights protects us, our freedoms of worship, speech, and privacy, our right to own firearms, our right to trial by jury,
our right to be free, to live our own lives without some bureaucrat telling us what to do. Most countries don't have these rights.
Want to know more? It's all there in the book. Get your own free book, The U.S. Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. Then read it again, and this time share it with your friends. Our great Constitution is the basis of all of our freedoms, our inalienable rights. Get your own copy at freeusbook.com.
Brought to you by the American Media Council.
To admit it's getting better, a little better all the time.
You're getting better all the time. Now back to Ann Beal on 1160 AM KVDT.
We have so much that we want to go over so that you can just live healthy and really healthy. So what we've gone over so far, we will just kind of let you go back and listen. If you want to go on Getting Better with Ann Beal Facebook, you can do that. We'll put it on YouTube and Instagram. But definitely we want you to consider not to get revenge when you're angry. This is one of the things for me. When you get revenge, however you do that, you end up hurting yourself. And so my encouragement to you is let God take revenge. And if you don't take revenge, and I'm not saying, if someone steals from you not to go do that, or I'm not saying don't take action for a bad behavior. I'm not talking about that. There's a difference, okay? Revenge is I want to make them pay.
Yeah, I want to hurt them the way they've hurt me. And,
yes.
When you do that, then you're overstepping your boundaries.
Well, and it hurts you. That's why I say that. We're trying to tell you things not to do to hurt yourself. And it bruising you, and that's part of emotionally, physically breaking you down. And revenge doesn't do the things that you think it's going to do for you. It doesn't relieve you of that.
Right, and God promises us in the Word, if we want revenge, let Him take care of that, and He will handle it if it's necessary.
Well, and if you've ever seen it. So I've seen it. And so we had a guy that came across in Hazlitt, and he did all these news ads. He worked for this company, and he, everybody all over Hazlitt bought these ads from him. And then he turned around. He had gotten fired early in the morning that day. And so he couldn't do any of that. So he just took off with the money.
Yeah.
And so when we thought people were so mad, well, then all of a sudden one day we see him being put out on the street. He'd been evicted from his house, and he was sitting outside in the hot sun. All his furniture was stuck outside of the house with the police and everything. It was sad. It was bad. And people were telling me, you may not go give him a ride. Him and his wife sitting out there. I felt so bad because, and I did it. They were like, you may not. Because they knew me. I felt bad. I'm like, okay. So I didn't. That's God's revenge if you let it happen.
A couple of other things that we talked about we wanted to cover, and I'll do this quickly. One is the importance of good nutrition. Everyone used to say, nutritionists, docs, everybody used to say, just eat a balanced diet. Well, we know that doesn't work anymore because our soils are so depleted from the minerals that we've got to supplement. And so if you don't supplement with minerals and vitamins and trace minerals and fatty acids and things like that, you're not going to be physically healthy because your nutrition is going to be so poor. So supplement.
Well, and we actually take Longevity's Healthy Start Pack,
Right.
which is all the 90 nutrients, and that's what we would suggest. If you want to buy those, they're affordable. Go to docshop.com or longevity.docshop.com.
Longevity.docshop.com.
DOCSHOP.com.
Right. Okay.
And he was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine and Nutrition. It's incredible stuff. That's what we take to stay well.
Yeah.
But definitely you need to supplement. But you also, even just switching from, a lot of people don't even eat plants. You need plants
Right.
to get so fruits and vegetables, add those in. Also, you need your healthy fats. Really, you do. That would be butter, fat milk, and all that. So you will hear us talk about that. You can go back to many of our shows and learn all about how to eat well. We have those shows a lot.
Yeah, I understand you'd say that. We realize now, and the research bears it out. It's not fat that makes you fat. It's sugar and carbs that make you fat and kill you. It's not the fat. So, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yes. And so eating well is very important. Eggs are important. The cholesterol is important to every organ of your body.
Right,
You need
absolutely.
it. So don't let them tell you to lower your cholesterol down. 20-year research came back last November. High cholesterol people live a lot longer than low cholesterol people.
Yeah, that's a whole show
like 40
in itself.
years longer.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other thing, make sure you're supplementing your food, but then also sleep. We haven't talked about sleep. Sleep is just really crucial. It is one of what I call the 4 pillars of health. And so, it's very, very important. If you're not getting enough sleep, and most people honestly still need about 8 hours is the average.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They can function. There are some people who are very proud at how little sleep they need
Right.
to function. But your body is breaking down whether you know it or not.
It is, and emotionally and psychologically, you really are not on a good wavelength when you don't get enough sleep.
Yes. So understand sleep is very important. Exercise is very important. Talking with people is very important. 3 times a day, sharing repressed emotions. Forgive 3 people, okay?
Live in the present.
Live in the present, not in the past. That is so important. You want to live in the present, not in the past or worried about the future.
Right.
And so by focusing on today, you will handle everything so much better. We do want to say Justin Packshaw, who climbed Mount Everest, will be here next week. He won't be here because we interviewed him, but he will be the show, and it is amazing. It's on the achievement of excellence, and he is an excellent human being, and it's amazing. He really takes people all over the world to
Adventure,
show them
explore.
they can. So next week, be here to get better. In the meantime, we want you to stay healthy, taking care of yourself, what it means to be healthy. Go back, listen, so you know.